everybody, my name is Citrus, and today we're talking about the Sonic Frontiers Prologues. Yes, that's multiple prologues, because we now have both parts of the Sonic Frontiers Prologue comic, as well as the Sonic Frontiers Prologue animation, and I was waiting for both of these projects to come out so that we could talk about them in one big video and get the whole picture of everything that's leading up to this game, which, by the way, comes out in 1 week. It's crazy. We're almost there. So I'm quickly going to summarize both projects, and then we can get into some analysis on each one as we go along. So I'll start with the comic since that one came out first. And the comic just showed us the basic setup from Sonic's perspective to Frontiers, where you had Sonic and Tails flying over to the Starfall Islands. When they see Amy, who's fighting a big Eggman robot on an island below, they jump down, help her out, find out that Amy was fighting an Eggman decoy, and they're like, oh, Eggman's up to his normal schemes, let's go find out what it is. Then it switches to Eggman's perspective, where we see that he's already on the Starfall Islands, and he's already up to his usual schemes. He's trying to figure out how to harness the technology of the Starfall Islands in order to create something that he calls the ultimate creation. He wants to combine his own AI that he made with the technology of the ancients in order to have his plans follow through. And the AI tells him not to, but he does it anyway, because of course he does. And that's basically where it leaves off, just saying, hey, go play the game to get the rest of the story. And in terms of the part with Sonic, Tails, and Amy, nothing really new there. We kind of already knew that they were headed to the Starfall Islands, and that they were, gonna go over there to look for the Chaos Emeralds because they had a reading over there. And then this is just kind of adding a little bit more context to it, with them being like, oh, we already know Eggman is probably scheming something, and there's some more interesting lead up to that with the whole fight with the Eggman decoy. I think the really interesting part here comes from Eggman's perspective, because it gives us a lot more context as to what exactly he's doing on the island. Him combining his own AI with the technology of the Starfall Islands is probably what created Sage, just from what I'm gathering, since she seems to be from the Starfall Islands, but she's also an AI construct thing. So I'm imagining that the combination of these things led to Sage being made. And then there's the tease of the ultimate creation from Eggman, which is really interesting. I'm really wondering what he means by that and why he specifically needs the technology of the Starfall Islands in order to accomplish this. I might just be reading a little bit too far into it. It could be related to like Eggman Land or world domination or whatever, something a little bit more generic. But that specific phrase, the ultimate creation, just catches my ear for a second, probably because it sounds like the ultimate life form, which is Shadow. So I'm assuming there might be something bigger there, possibly related to like the end of the game, the final boss or something. And one last interesting thing from this comic, Eggman refers to these people as the Ancients, the people who used to be on the Starfall Islands, who made all this technology. And he specifically refers to them with a capital A. It says the Ancients with a capital A, which is a proper noun, which means that these aren't just like ancients referring to people from long ago. There was a specific group of people that he's referring to as the Ancients, like that's their actual name, which implies that Eggman probably knows a lot more about the history of these islands than we do right now, and maybe there was a group literally known as the Ancients who made all this stuff, and we're probably going to learn a lot more about them. Or I could just be reading too far into this. Again, it is one capital letter, but I have a feeling that it's very specific. It feels intentional, the way that they wrote it. But that's just the comic. We also have the new Frontiers prologue from Knuckles' perspective, the animation, which is just, right off the bat, I want to say, freaking excellent. It came out this morning. I've already watched it like 4 or 5 times over and over again. It's so good, it's so well done. You had Tyson Hess directing it, you had Ian Flynn's script finally being put to some voices, like the official voice cast, and Powerhouse animated it. It's just, if you haven't seen it already, definitely do so. It's amazing. But to give a quick summary of it before we do our deep dive analysis, it starts off with Knuckles monologuing about the Angel Island and his duty, and how he thinks of him being the protector of the Master Emerald as sort of a karma for the sins of his ancestors. He also wonders who had control of the Emerald before the Echidnas and who made the actual Master Emerald Shrine, because that's been there since even before they got to it. Then we get a little bit of Knuckles exploring the island as he continues to monologue, talking about how sometimes he finds ancient Echidna ruins and new routes, but also sometimes relics of something from even before the Echidna's time. And after helping out a little Chow, he finds a portal gear, which then points him in the direction of a cave which he had never seen before, and inside the cave we see one of these throne teleporter things that we keep on seeing in Sonic Frontiers on Angel Island, or at least in Sky Sanctuary, which is kind of the same thing, but not really. You get what I mean. Of course, Knuckles puts the gear into the throne thingy, and it teleports him to Ares Island of the Starfall Islands, where then he gets ambushed by a bunch of enemies, takes them out in incredible fashion. Again, it bears repeating. Go watch this, and if you've already seen it, go watch it again. It's so good. And then Asura and Sage pop up, and they have a little stare down, and then Knuckles wakes up in a funny little bubble prison, like Amy did in the CGI cutscene we saw a little while ago. Now, the main theme that I'm getting from this little prologue animation is this idea of people who came before the Echidnas, people who made the Master Emerald Shrine, who worshipped the Emerald before them, the people who were just there before them. What history goes back even further? And now combining that information with the comic that we just read, it's presumably the ancients of the Starfall Islands who were the ones who made the temple shrine and did all that stuff. And we can tell that because they have the teleporter in Sky Sanctuary, which means they would have access to Angel Island, and so it just kind of makes sense with the way that they're setting things up. There's also that Chow that Knuckles helped out, who was trying to pull at this little Coco mask, and we've seen the Cocos, and everyone's made the general visual identification that they look pretty similar to the Chow, but with the Chow picking up the Coco mask and then putting it on, seems like a very specific directorial choice to me that might be hinting at the fact that the Cocos could be like an ancient form of the Chow, because keep in mind, Chow can evolve. Chow can go all the way and turn into freaking chaos, and then perfect chaos after that. So they can change their forms quite a bit, and I don't think it would be a stretch to say that maybe before they turned into these funny little blue creatures, maybe before they were like these weird little rock creatures, and then they evolved and changed over time. But that's just a really big theory about this one small thing. It could just be a silly little visual gag, but again, it feels very specific to me. And then that just leaves Sage, who is still really confusing. We still don't know what her goals are, and it seemed kind of weird to me that she just immediately saw Knuckles and was like, boom, get blocked, I'm gonna throw you into bubble prison. There was no real reason for it. He wasn't antagonizing her. He wasn't trying to do nothing really. He was just kind of teleported there not really of his own volition. It just kind of happened. My first thought was that maybe she's trying to get the Master Emerald, and so by locking the protector of the Master Emerald away, she would have an easier time getting to it. But I'm not really sure if that's the case, because she also kidnapped Amy and Tails, as we've seen before, so it seems like she just doesn't like visitors or something. I don't know. Again, we're probably going to find out a lot more about Sage when the game comes out, and then we can finally get the full picture of it, but as it stands, things are still very unclear with her. And so, to kind of summarize both prologues into one really quick list, we have Sonic, Tails, and Amy headed to the Starfall Islands after the Chaos Emeralds and are trying to stop whatever new scheme that Eggman has going on. And Eggman is trying to use his new AI to hack into the ancient technology of the Starfall Islands in order to use it to create his ultimate creation. They're also dropping hints that these ancients who made the technology on the Starfall Islands could be connected to the Master Emerald somehow, and then Knuckles ended up trapped on the Starfall Islands because of a little teleporter whoopsie. And that's kind of the full picture that we have right now. Obviously there's more if you want to read into it, but just from these two prologue things, that's what we know of everything before the game even starts. And man, I gotta say, it is really, really exciting to have this much lore going on before we're even entering into the next game. It's like, with games like Generations, Forces, Colors, it's like there was not a lot of added lore. I guess you could argue that something like the Wisps, or even like Lost World with the Zeti, did add something to the Sonic universe, but they were kind of just additional elements, if you get what I mean. They weren't really connected or rooted in anything that we already knew from previous games like Adventure and Adventure 2. They were just kind of adding things for the sake of adding them. This is more so expanding on information that we already know, because we're already well established with Angel Island and with the Master Emerald and the Echidna tribes and all that, but now we're going even further. We're saying, what was even before that, and how are they related to this new stuff with the Starfall Islands, and how are they interconnected in that way? Whereas games like Colors, when you introduce the Wisps, it's kind of like, this is the stuff with Master Emerald, whatever, pre-established lore, and we're just adding another layer. This is more like, interconnectedness. This is a weird hand motion that I'm doing, but you get what I mean. And again, it's just so amazing. I love the comic, but especially that animation. It was beautiful, it was cool. We got a little bit of introspectiveness with Knuckles and him kind of resenting his role as the Master Emerald's protector, even though he knows it's what he has to do. It's like, these are kind of the interesting things that I've been missing from Sonic, and it was something that I was really excited to see delved into again, because with Ian Flynn on the main writing team, we knew that we were going to get this stuff, and already it's hitting really, really hard. And after I'm done recording this, I'm probably going to watch this animation like another 3 times because I love it so much. But anyways, that pretty much summarizes my thoughts and analysis on all this stuff. Once again, we're a week away from the game, so there's not a lot of time before all the beans are spilled and we get all of the information just straight injected into our eyeballs and ears and taste buds. It is a really, really exciting time, and you best believe that once that game comes out, it's gonna be no holds barred. We're gonna be popping off over here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, click that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, because like I just said, we're popping off here for Sonic Frontiers. We are going to be going really hard on the content. You best believe. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you all later. Peace.